You're listening to Apashish, a Cree learning podcast.
Fort Albany First Nation helped me get better and to where I am today. I can't freaking forget that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't forget.
Wajek Miswe. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Apashish, a Cree learning podcast. I hope everyone's doing well. I have a couple of things I'm excited about. First, I want to start out by announcing that we now have a website, apashishpodcast.ca. On there, you can listen to and share the episodes, read bios for the guests, sign up for our newsletter, and find links to all of our platforms and socials. I'll also be writing blogs to provide more background on my learning journey and how this podcast came to be, or behind-the-scenes details on how the podcast is put together. You can leave a review on the website, give us a rating, and write a short review, and it might be featured in a future episode. And you can also leave reviews on your listening platform, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, or YouTube. And by doing so, it helps build our audience and get the word out. So if you have time, please leave us a review. And on the website, I also created a Cree resource page where I've compiled links to resources to help you learn Cree, including links to apps, online dictionaries and lessons, and even a book. And that's the other thing I'm excited to talk about for this episode. I was just digging through my bookshelf and rediscovered one I bought more than 10 years ago. It's called Aralukana Nesta Tabachimowina, or Cree Legends and Narratives from the West Coast of James Bay. It has 68 stories, legends, and narratives told by 16 Cree speakers from Moose Factory and Saskatchewan recorded in the 1950s and 60s. The 16 speakers include Simeon Scott, Xavier Sutherland, Isaiah Sutherland, John Wynn, Joel Linklater, Silas Wesley, Hannah Wynn, Gabriel Kioki, Andrew Ferries, Gilbert Ferries, Sophie Gunner, James Gunner, Willie Frenchman, Hannah Loon, Ellen McLeod, and John Carpenter. The book was compiled and edited by Dr. Douglas Ellis, who was a linguist who first went to the James Bay region as an Anglican missionary in 1947, where he stayed in Moose Factory and Saskatchewan. The stories were recorded from 1955 to 1965 at Albany Post, now Saskatchewan, or on visits to Moose Factory. The book is divided into 3 parts by dialect. Part 1 is Swampy Cree, Part 2 is called Saskatchewan Cree, and Part 3 is Moose Cree. So Swampy Cree is the N dialect, which is what my parents and grandparents speak. Moose Cree is the L dialect, primarily spoken by Moose Cree First Nation members like Jocelyn from episode 2. And Alice, the book editor, says he calls the third dialect Saskatchewan Cree, since it represents a mixed N and L usage. And I've heard of the term Cache Cree before because of that mix of dialects, but I've also heard from fluent Cree speakers that they can tell where a person is from, based on hearing them speak Cree, and not only from the dialect, but I guess from an accent or vocabulary, from my understanding. Anyway, what is great about this book is not only the legends, but that it has full stories and even conversations written in both Cree and English. To top it off, you can hear the actual recordings if you go to the website spokencree.org. There, you can hear and download audio and read the Cree being spoken alongside the English translation on the opposite page of the book. Here's one clip I downloaded. That's Isaiah Sutherland telling a story about Wisagachuk, a famous speaker in Cree legends. And the Cree is written in Roman orthography, which uses the letters of the English alphabet with a few modifications to represent indigenous language sounds, including Cree. So this is a big rediscovery for me as I record this in early November 2025. I'll be honest, I haven't made a lot of learning progress since the last episode. I haven't been consistently doing the lessons, and I think part of the reason is that they can be monotonous and it's difficult to find a way to incorporate those kind of basic terms into my everyday conversation. And in the past episodes, I've talked about how I've never really been taught to piece all these words together into sentences. What I like about this book and the audio is that I'll be able to dissect and break down not only sentences, but whole stories and conversations in listening and writing. So I'm pretty excited about that. If you're interested, I posted links to where you can order the book on the website. It's available from the University of Manitoba, both digitally and print, and you can order it from there. And you can go to the spokencree.org website for the audio recordings. And by the way, I don't think I'm closely related to John Carpenter, who is recorded in the book. The book says he was living in Moose Factory at the time of the recording in 1965, and that he spoke Moose Cree, which is the L dialect. And my Mooshum spoke the N dialect, and he was originally from the Attawapiskat area. Though he did live in Moosonee, which is across the river from Moose Factory, so they could be related. But who knows? And speaking of being related, so my guest this month is Robert Nakogee. Robert was raised in his home community of Fort Albany by his great aunt and uncle, Margaret and Joseph Jojeep Wheesk, and completed his last 2 years of elementary school in Moosonee, Ontario. He completed high school in Timmins, Ontario, and returned to his community where he later entered politics, first as a band councillor for his First Nation, before serving 2 terms as the deputy chief. In 2020, he was elected chief and served 1 term before voluntarily stepping away. He re-entered politics this year and was elected chief of Fort Albany in October 2025 for his 2nd term. Robert, or Bobby as he is known to his family and friends and community members, is my cousin on my mom's side. His late grandmother, Marianne Etherington, and my mom were sisters. So I guess that makes him my 2nd cousin. Though like in most Indigenous communities, we don't really say second cousins, stuff like that. He's just my cousin. And whenever my family visited Albany, I ended up hanging around with Bobby and we play wrestling or Super Nintendo. He taught me how to shoot pool when Albany had a pool hall back in the day, and later he had his own little pool table in their basement. And later when he moved to Moosonee, we went to the same school, and then we went to high school together in Timmins as well. And sometime after high school, he went back to Fort Albany, and I didn't really see him a whole lot over the years, except for, some family events here and there. And then I learned that he was starting to enter community politics. And honestly, I was pretty proud when he was first elected as chief of his community. He was a pretty rambunctious Reds kid back in the day. And during our conversation, he alludes to those bratty years and how he's grown a lot over time. He also talks about growing up in a house full of different generations and extended family and going to school outside his community, and shares his story and how he entered politics. He also shares words of wisdom from Jojeep, the man who raised him. We spoke on October 23rd, just days after he was elected, and he was chatting with me between meetings from his office in Albany. Our conversation starts with him talking about his relocation back to Fort Albany after the election. Here's my conversation with Robert Nakogee.
I had my grandson come up, so it was nice. So yeah, man, I'm a grandpa now.
That's right.
Remember?
You're a Mushroom. Yeah.
Yeah, Musho now.
Yeah. And how old is it a she or a he?
He's nice.
He's
His
not,
name is
not.
Nice, and he's 3-4 months in a couple of days.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, the Neo Beneso, the Neo Pisabo Beneso. Yeah, something like that.
Oh, okay. Is like the family moving back to Albany, like the whole family, or are they staying here in Timmins, or?
Oh, they're staying there in Timmins. Just me here, and I stay with my family, who I consider my brother.
Right.
Your brother?
My brother, yeah.
Yeah, but we were raised by the same individual, so we're staying with him here in my house, along with his children. and grandchildren. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. The full house. It's nice. We're talking about it one evening where, hey, we got about 4 or 5 families in this one house. We didn't realize.
Right.
Yeah, like we have your niece Draylene that has her kids. Then we got Spring, then Ricky, then me and my partner along with our son, then my daughter.
Yeah.
If we all come home, we're gonna be sleeping on bunk beds. Okay.
So this is the same house you pretty much grew up in, right? So originally it was like you were taken in by our aunt Margaret, the late Margaret, and her husband Jojeep. So how did that come about?
Okay. Geez, this goes back years now, probably 38 years when I putting everything together. Well, I was 5 years old, and they took me in, took care of me. I think, well, not think, I know it was a blessing in disguise because, yes, we all go through hardships, but it grew me into a man I am today and guidance, and he still talks to me like a little kid.
Jojeep? Yeah.
Yeah, he still talks to Joji, talks to me like a young man, like a little kid still, which is great. I don't mind because he's been around all. He's 85 now, so I'm not going to argue with that, right? So
Yeah.
he has the knowledge. Being in his kingdom, he knows that of life, and he guided me along. Where yes, I needed to smarten up in my life too, and yes, I did, and I've grown from it and understand it. So
Yeah, because he's a pretty well-respected elder in the community too, right? Like he used to be on the council. Was he on council at some point? Yeah.
oh yes, he was council. Even one time, he was appointed to be deputy chief by his fellow councilmen because there was no deputy chief position at the time, and he was acting a lot. We always and his friends would tell me. His friends would tell him, and he would tell me that luckily, people are lucky I don't know how to speak English. He said, "I'd be chief today." He tells me.
So tell me about your actual parents. So there's Audrey, the late Audrey Nakogee, my cousin, my first cousin.
Yeah, my mother's late Audrey Nakogee. My grandparents are Ken and Marianne Andreeton,
Hmm.
and my great grandparents are Xavier and Shandik Nakogee. So that's how far I go. So I'm finding out I have a big family. More and more detail, like more I dig into
Right.
it, I'm finding out that I have relations all along the coast. So it doesn't matter which First Nation it is. So we have a big family here, just in Fort Albany. Finding out I got family up the coast and how large this family, the family tree is, and just putting it together on both sides. Because just our own family tree, there's nine. There was nine my grandparents, right?
Right.
Then they all trickle down. They're one time, just my grandmother alone, before she left, she had about 33 grandkids. So you can't imagine how many kids they have now. So
And how many siblings do you have? I know of five of them, right? At
yeah,
least.
there's 5 of us in total. I have an older brother named Robert Nakogee. He's 40, 44. Then I got he's the oldest. I got my brother Randall that lives in Timmins. Aubrey lives here. Then I got my sister that lives in Moosonee. Her name's Nicolette. And I have Wes that lives in Ottawa. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so we're kind of all spread out. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but we communicate. We talk to each other. So keep in touch.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And you're the only one that was raised by Margaret and Jojeep, right?
he was the only one that raised me since I was 5 years old, and they taught me a lot. And they put up with me. I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
And he still lives. He's still like not too far from me. If I need somebody to talk to or guides me, not to take things personally, I'll say.
Yeah. And Margaret died when we were still young. I must have been like 8 years old or something. So I never really got to know her. So what was she like? What are your memories of her?
Oh, there was yeah, she was young. There's a funny story today that I laugh about because what YouTube teaches me to slow down as I drive around my Honda, right?
Yeah.
Don't drive fast. I was taught by him growing up. So one time I was taking my time heading across because Fort Albany consists of 3 islands. So the northern store, our grocery store, it was located by the mainland, which is by the airport. So one time I was driving and just taking my time, what I was taught, right? So drive slow, don't go fast. So as we were driving across, that's what I was doing, driving slow. And it had bugged her so much that she tapped me on the shoulder and told me to drive faster. So I kind of blame her now why I drive so fast. But she left October 26th. Yeah, October 26th, 1993.
Oh, the anniversary just coming up.
Couple days.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So I can't believe how fast it's gone
Mm-hmm.
that time. Yeah. And when she left, it affected us a lot. But she taught me too a lot of things, and she was always caring. And a little, yeah, she was wheelchair confined.
Yeah.
So yeah, in our house there was no ramps, so it would be me, Jojeep carrying her up the stairs, or me and Ricky carrying her up the stairs. And I was just young, so yeah, I was only young, maybe 10 years old doing that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Maybe that's probably where I made my muscles and stuff. So I'd started at a young age of picking up people,
Yeah.
carrying them up these stairs and stuff like that. But she was still independent. It didn't bother her. There was times I know that it was shared. She would go downstairs to do her own laundry, make her way down, and she would figure it out. And I'm not sure how she did it, but nothing stopped her from doing what she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you also had a lot of other people in your household when you're growing up. So there's Jojeep and Margaret. There was their son, the late Ernest Wheesk, and who I know you consider a brother as well because you grew up together practically. And there's his wife Betty. There's their kids, and then there is my brother Ricky, and then there is Gukum, who's technically your Jaban, but I know you still call her Gukum though, at least
My dad.
like to our family. But so, what was it like growing up in that household with all these relatives?
I was busy. I'll tell you that. Yeah, it was really busy, and for my job on Shandik, I like to when I was younger. Yes, I was bratty, but I like to. I used to like wrestling with her. Yeah, I used to like wrestling with her, and
Oh, really?
I would lose. Like what? I'm supposed to thinking she's old, but she was one strong lady. I'll tell you that. Even when she would get upset with Ernest, with late Ernest and Ricky, even Ricky and Ernest would be falling into line. I don't know. She had a lot of power, that young lady. So she was a strong lady
Oh, really?
and grew up. Yes, I grew up with your brother for a while. Then I moved to Moosonee. Then to bring it back, Ernest with his wife and kids. Yeah, I was really busy. I grew up with Darren, and I didn't realize what they were doing to me when I would go shopping with them. I didn't. That's one thing I didn't realize, that they were teaching me in life how to shop for basic needs,
Oh, okay.
walking around each aisle and stuff like that. So I didn't realize, because I think I left. How old was I? 22, 24, 24 years old. 20 years old when I decided to have my own place.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that I knew how to shop already, buy myself stuff. I didn't realize the basic needs to make sure that you get by.
Yeah.
And it was a busy home. A lot of sometimes. Luckily that we had a basement home, because upstairs was full. It was completely full, and downstairs is where it's a bit open for us. That's where we stayed together. Usually stayed near Joseph Wheesks. So I kind of he's my dad, I guess I'll say. He raised me, taught me a lot of things in life. So
Mm-hmm.
and those things that he taught me today and back then I use today.
So you grew up in Fort Albany, which is a small fly-in community.
900 people, yeah, 8 to 900 people, but it was smaller then. But a lot of people left to go to the cities, because what we're facing then and are still facing today is housing shortages. So that's one thing we're facing. Yeah, of course we have the social problems as well. Those come along, but I that comes from the traumas that people have carried still today
Mm-hmm.
from the past, and we all pray that everybody gets better and the cycles break.
So what was it like for you to grow up in Fort Albany?
Um, I was an angel. Just kidding. I know the stories I hear today, but I like growing up, and I love growing up in Albany. I just lived in Timmins this past year, but I don't know how many times I wanted to come home.
Yeah.
Yeah, just come home, be here. Being up in a reserve, we got the First Nation, like the reserve. You're free. You're more free to do things anywhere without stepping on someone's yard. I'll say, you can go places, go hunting, go any direction. You can go hunting as long as it's not inside the community, right? So you go in a kilometer or two, then you can go trap. They can go trapping. I don't trap myself, but I go hunting with a gun. I take a rifle with me. I go with friends. I love being in a community around people. Yeah, man. I know in the city you can do that too, but in the city you're always busy, 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 and everybody's doing something. So when you try to visit some people, they're doing something. So you kind of, okay, I'll just stay home. So you sit at home. Everybody's busy doing a thing. Of course, the city, right? You got more things to do, things to go, and life doesn't stop. The world keeps spinning. So,
Hmm.
and here, yeah, I encountered a loss. I lost family here, friends, miss seeing them around. I didn't realize is being closer to them helps me as the community of Fort Albany First Nation helped me get better into where I am today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like morning Gunihan, I can't forget. Morning Gunihan, I can't forget.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, and I can still speak Cree, so that's why I like being around here because you want to dabwe. I don't really get to use it when I'm in the city.
Right. Yeah.
When I'm home, I get to use it and talk to people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even realize you're using both English and Cree in the same sentence. Yeah, because it's so flow.
Right.
The flow is there, yeah. So I know that's something we need to address too.
You mentioned hunting. How old were you when you got your first goose?
There's funny. There's a story to that. When I first got my goose, they didn't trust me with a gun until I was about 12 or 13 years old, I think. I don't know why there. I don't know why. But I don't know why, Lenny, but that wasn't until 12, 13. And it was funny when I first got it was I was sitting in a blind mushcake towards north, I'll say west, what southwest of the community. So that's where I went. Maybe it's about half an hour on skidoo ride. But one was sitting with when I first got a goose landed in a blind or a shooting range of I was using a 410 at the time. So when I was utilizing the 410, I landed, and the Jojeep told me, shoot it. I said, okay. So I got up slowly, and I shot it with my 14, and I got it. I dropped, and then I got excited. I'll just say that first, but I threw my gun in the air and just ran out of the blind, went to go get my goose, all proud. And when I get back to the blind, man, I got crap. You're not supposed to throw your gun around because what happened is that my 410 stuck in the snow with the barrel,
Oh.
so it's all packed with snow. And the dude, the old man there was cleaning it. He says, "You don't do that." And then that's when he taught me the importance why.
Right.
Because we learn to handle a gun inside the blind or wherever we hunt. We don't take a gun course. It's the person beside you that teaches you how to utilize a gun, how to use it safely, how to carry it. But when we're sitting there, he tells me, "You know why you can't be throwing your gun around? You're gonna hit somebody." I said, "Okay." And also, if there's something in this barrel and you shoot, it can explode, and it can cause an accident. It might not hurt you, but it can hurt the person beside you.
Hmm.
That was a lesson I learned along the way.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely learned about gun safety early on from like my dad and my parents, like starting with like the pellet guns and stuff like that. And then
They didn't even trust me with it, but again.
I mean, you're kind of referencing it, but I remember, yeah, you were a pretty busy kid. I remember we used to, when I would come visit Fort Albany, like we would play wrestling, like in the basement and stuff, and you would pretend to be like Hulk Hogan or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, I used to wrestle a lot, and I used to wrestle anybody. I used to even, when I got older, start picking up people, not realizing. But I learned by taking lateral violence. Lateral violence is something I took twice because I was trying to promote that. And when I took it, that's when I started learning boundaries.
Right.
start learning boundaries and not picking up people. So I stopped that. You know, I stopped those things. Oh, geez, I didn't realize. Like when I start understanding more, I wonder how what I did and how those people felt when I was doing it. When I start understanding more, but they understand. I didn't mean no harm. It was just fun, something fun to do, joke around, because they're laughing. But I didn't know at the time. What if I was doing something wrong? So I learned now. So I don't pick up people. I don't try not to, unless I warn them first. I'm gonna pick you up, and they're like, ah. Then we joke around. But
Yeah, you were kind of like rough, I guess you could say in a way, but you weren't, like you said, you weren't really mean about it. You were just like horsing around, and that's the thing I remember you about you too. Like you weren't malicious. Like even though, and you mentioned like your size, because you were. I remember you being a strong guy all the time, but you weren't like a bully. Somebody we know from Moosonee actually in high school texted me, and when we found out you were reelected, said that oh, he was my backup because he stopped me from getting bullied. He said from another guy, bigger guy there. Yeah, so
but when you get bullied as a kid, right? You get bullied. Then you start thinking it's normal to do it.
right.
Then you start doing it. But then when you start realizing it's not normal to do, you
Hmm.
kind of, geez, you try to help your younger friends that try to bully your friends. So you kind of, yes, I hung out with most people that are adults, maybe 10, 20, 15 years older than me.
Hmm.
And I try to bring my young friends with me, and it's just to chill, like, hey, leave me alone, so they can chill and relax without getting picked on.
Yeah.
Yes, I used to be people's backup too, though. So I just to make sure they're okay too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I know. At times I have grown a lot to where I was. I'll say,
yeah,
yeah, I've grown a lot to become to where I am today. But I wouldn't have done it, and that's what people need. I wanted people to know too is that I wouldn't have done it without the people that supported me along the way. You know, and I believe that showed for 12 years in a row, sitting being elected by members that membership 6 years in a row. I'll say, first starting off as a councillor, I did that 2 terms, then becoming deputy chief 3 terms, then running for chief a term. You know,
yeah,
yeah. So sat in leadership for 12 years, and and I wouldn't have done that. And I know I'm back again, being elected again by membership.
yeah.
No, so I was like, well, and even got people voting for me. That this year, this is the second year where not online, but outside members are eligible to vote.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh geez, and they elected me again to become back as chief. I felt proud because now I'm sitting in leadership again, and again, it's the people that did it. You know, people that voted, and as well from my experience in the past, sitting in leadership, maybe they've seen something,
Yeah.
but they also helped me grow to who I am today. And I'm gonna tell this is that in the last term I sat as chief from 2020 to 2022, they didn't realize they helped me through my grief because I lost my mother in 2020,
Right.
and I decided to run for chief a few months later. And then they don't realize that. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they know. They helped me get to where I am, and and I love that. And I truly believe that anybody that wants to change can change. But you have to make some tough choices for yourself as well. You got to meet people halfway. You know, and one thing I've learned is forgiveness. That's one thing I was taught to forgive people, it will feel good. And also, people coming into my office or I meet on the road to let things go. So you don't carry it so much and it's heavy on you. So that's what I learned. Yeah, and one number one thing I did when I was mad about in the world was abandonment. And the first person I forgave was my mother. And after that, I started forgiving slowly.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, I'm becoming a parent. Oh my God, and you look at life differently and you want something different for them. And you're trying to teach them. Yeah, and I was making unhealthy choices, I'll say, at the time. But today, When I became chief in 2020, August 24th, on it was flag ceremony day. That's when I stopped drinking. So I've been sober for 5 years now, man.
Oh, congrats. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 years. And you still, and I'm just learning still, talking to an individual here in my office, is that there is still work that you need to do.
Right.
Because you need to talk about things that might make you feel uncomfortable. But it's important that you talk about them so that you get lighter.
Yeah.
I'm slowly working on those things, and I just want to help, and I just I want people to get better. And okay, how can we do it? I'm gonna need help to do that.
Yeah.
I wish we can wave a wand and everybody's better, but it's not like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I think by communicating with them, talking to them, trying to like engage with them more if they don't want to engage with you, like we gotta look at different approaches. Maybe by visiting their home, even if they slam the door on you, they don't open, they're looking at you through a crack of a curtain. You go again, you consistently going, then you're showing them that you want to help, you care for them. So that's what I've learned.
So you mentioned your mom and the issues there. There was a time you moved to Moosonee for a period to live with her. What was that part of it? So you can part of the reason why you moved to Moosonee to be closer to her, live with her.
I moved to Moosonee because that's when a couple years later, Margaret passed away, right? So,
Right. Right.
and Joseph Jojeep was busy as well.
Hmm.
He was a busy thing, and they said, okay, it's time. And I think they want to give me a greater opportunity to grow. Yeah, so I lived with my mom for a couple of years. I lived in Moosonee with her, and I graduated in Moosonee. I went to Timmins, and I graduated in Timmins. So yeah, it was tough. It wasn't. I was probably still a mad child back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to get out, get going, just keep going because when being told you won't graduate grade 12, so it's kind of a goal. So I graduated grade 12, and then after I graduated in 2002, and the next 20 years is about getting first-hand experience on the ground, working on any job I can get. Um, I went from acting as a general manager, from an office clerk to acting general manager at our power office and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it just kept building and building and building. Like it's just work experience on the ground. That's how I learned my stuff.
What was that transition like for you to move from Albany? I mean, first to Moosonee, and then like to Timmins, like you said. So you lived there during the school year in Timmins to go attend high school. What was that like for you, coming from a small community to live in those places?
I was different. Like I got lost. First of all, I got lost in the big city of Timmins, but it all looked the same streets, same houses. So it was a little bit of a culture shock, I guess, because then when you're moving to Timmins, you're going to boarding homes, people you don't even know.
Yeah.
You go in there, you talk to them, and you're like, okay, this is. And some of them make you feel comfortable, some of them don't. I'll tell you that. And it made you sad when you're going through that.
Right.
You grow. I guess it helps you grow at the same time. I guess because then it gets you ready for the city life, city world. If you ever want to go out there, you know what to expect. I think that's why sometimes I think we need to look at bringing like high school students to check out one semester in the city at least, or 1 or 2 semester,
Yeah.
only because so it's not such a cultural shock when you go to college.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like like when you go to college, whoa, oh geez, all those things that you're exposed to. And I'm not just saying the city itself, but what's out there, such as what we're facing in this world regarding drugs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just mention that's something that we need to figure out together.
So I also went to we went to high school together,
Yeah.
and but there were other kids from like northern communities. Usually it was like Albany and Pewanak, I remember, mostly. And well, we even had like the native section, remember? Like there's in the common area, so we would all kind of gather and sit together and
Yeah,
play cards and stuff like that. Last card.
yeah. The map. Main game was last card. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all the native kids come together, and I don't know, I kind of call it the native section or whatever.
Yeah.
So what do you think helped you to, keep going and, to successfully get your high school diploma?
Um, I think the boarding parents helped because I don't know. I think I moved 3 or 4 times before I found a good boarding parent.
What made them like good boarding parents?
They listen to you. They give you time to speak.
Mm.
And you had an elderly lady too that helped. There's two of them. I can't say one was better than the other.
Hmm.
Yeah, but at the first couple didn't really work out,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go back. I had a point to prove, I guess. When people tell you can't get your grade 12, so I wanted to prove it wrong. Yeah, I can get it, and being told that's your ticket. That's your ticket.
Yeah.
And yes, I got sent home once from high school. I didn't behave. And if you didn't behave, you got a 1, 2, 3 strike rule, and then you got sent back. You got sent back, and you come back again for the next semester. Yeah, and then after I got sent back that once, it was grade 11. I was like, oh no, because when you go home, you have your friends here. Yes, you kind of like, okay, you wonder if I don't get it now, am I gonna get it after, like the grade 12?
Right.
So I made sure, okay, I learned my lesson. I don't want to go back first. I just want to get my grade 12 diploma, then I'll go home. Then it pushed me, and I wanted to be around friends. I made a lot of friends, different friends, running into family, people that I didn't know that were my family and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, because at the end, I guess at the end of the day, most of our family tree lives in Timmins. Our aunts, our uncles, and stuff. There's a lot of us that live in Timmins now. So yeah, and I just find driving around on a bike when you're young, right? Because there's more things to do in the city.
So what did you do after you got your high school diploma? So you moved back to Albany?
Tried to stay in Timmins for a couple of years. I didn't have any luck looking for work. Yeah, I didn't. Nobody called back, so I said, okay, I'm gonna go home. So I decided to come home, start working odd jobs here and there. And I became a dad, 2008.
Oh.
Became a dad, became a father to my daughter Mariah, who is now a mother,
Yeah.
which makes me a grandfather. So
Yeah.
and that age there when I was going home, I didn't think I'll go anywhere, in my life. I was kind of like, oh man, I ain't getting anywhere. But eventually, more people start giving chances to me. My friends talking to me. Some friends of mine told me things that they're no longer with me, but I think about those things now. The messages they gave me and they were trying to tell me, and I didn't understand back then. So, but eventually, then politics came, and then someone gave me a chance to become a board member at our local distribution company, the power place.
Hmm.
So that's where I kind of started off for me, 2009. Then I went to counseling, become a counselor, did that, then I already spoke of that. Then I gave it 12, fast forward 12 years of politics. Then I took a break, I guess I'll say, because my kids asked me to stay home. But those times I was told by Grand Chiefs that you got to it's okay to take a break because one day your kids will grow so fast. He said, all of a sudden they're going to have kids and you might miss that. And I was like, oh, and I thought about those things.
Yeah.
And I also thought about how people used to say, oh, you weren't around when I was a kid. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's time. Yeah, I'll go. My kids asked me to stay home. We're leaving it was a winter road, so we're leaving, and they finally broke down. We're going to the city, thinking they'll be excited, but they finally broke down. They cried, and it says, "Dad, we want you to stay home." I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then took a 3 year break. Took a year off, just did hunting, cutting wood, built a cabin, and after that, kind of took a job in Timmins as the solid waste coordinator. So I did that with Mushkego Council for a couple of years, and I learned some stuff there. Stuck around the city, connect with people, to chat. I got in shape, got back in health. I guess I cut 30 pounds. So yeah, so I hit the gym. Good life. I guess I put good life out there.
Yeah.
Then after that, I came came back, and because I was asked to run too for the election by some members, so I said, okay, I'll come back. So all this was discussed with family first, and they all said, go ahead, it's okay, let's do it.
What made you want to go into politics in the first place?
In the first place, first was becoming a board member, sitting around, being a voice, I guess. And I think, hey man, maybe that's the next thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll give it a try. I thought. I tried, and plus I was already asked by membership, so I believe maybe the membership seen something in me I didn't see,
Mm-hmm.
and add to it. So I said, okay. Then I decided to run. Let's give it a shot. I said, and I did pretty good. The first time I ran for councillor, I just put my name there and did pretty good. The first numbers I received when I first ran council in the community, it's similar to the last numbers I received in votes in this last election. So it's it's still there, that core, like my core supporters in the community.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot, and I just spoke things. Sometimes I went against the grain, and I just wanted to advocate more, and the more I understand from life experiences, because that's one thing Jojeep told me. It's better we say it in Cree, I guess. He goes, Kana ke gon anamota, agos goes to Mositain. He goes, don't talk about things if you haven't carried them yet. It's better, if you didn't carry them yet, take them as teachings. Agamas goes to Mositain, because Kanahama Guyana Boshutana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when I sit here and this life experiences I've encountered, that's what I was bringing to the table.
Mm-hmm.
But things I didn't know, and people come tell me about it, then that's when I learned, okay, how can help this person? I'm sure there's just not one person that going through that thing. You know what I mean? What they're going through.
What was kind of your biggest surprise about when you were first on council for the first time? Was there something you were surprised by about like how it all works, or?
The discussion around the table. By it's when you're sitting around I guess the decision making that happens at the table. You're not always what you bring to the table might not always be supported.
Oh, okay.
I was like, huh? You know, because you need like quorum usually, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you just find ways different, and whatever that's at at the end, whatever the team decides, then you try to push that.
Yeah.
That's something I've learned sitting in the council table. Like when you bring an idea, it's not going to be always supported. You voice it anyways, because that's what members want.
Right. Okay. And then you were first elected as chief, like you said in 2020. So what's something about being a chief that you wish more people would know about?
Um, Sometimes supporting supporting is better. It gives the leadership more strength. And here, maybe you don't see how many times someone comes to the door throughout the day, or how many phone calls they're taking. You just want better things for your community. That's always the goal of every leaders, every chief that I sat with. And we just all take different paths to get there. That's, I guess, my messaging would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was chief the first time I had to deal with the pandemic, so that was a big curve in life.
Yeah. So what was that like for you?
Sometimes like, oh geez, it was tough, like because we didn't understand it. You know, what's gonna help? Some people, I know, some people didn't really believe in it. Some people got really sick. It was tough to navigate, and that's just 3 years ago. You know, 4 years ago. It's almost like yesterday, and it seems like people tend to forget it. But we learned a lot of things there. I think as reminders how important it is to keep in touch with family, friends. You just never know, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's what taught us. Of course, keeping your hands clean. That's one thing, right? I don't know how many times you had to wash your hands during that time.
And you, so like you said, you didn't run for election. I guess you wanted to take a break. And but I remember I saw you at the Mshkegwa Cup there, the hockey tournament, and it was after you were chief, and I asked you, oh, so what's life like now? Not about being on council, and I was expecting you to go, oh, nice and relaxing, or something like that. But instead, you were like boring. You said it was boring. So what made you want to go back on council, and what do you hope to accomplish on this term?
I like being busy. I like being busy, and I like I just like voicing things more. And this time, I want to do better than I did the first time I ran. I want to do better than what I did last time. Because one of the things here in our community is we have a young man that has been doing groundwork on trying to get an arena. Because everybody, that's been the goal here in the community, and hoping along with our council, we can help that goal be accomplished. And so we can say, hey, look, community led, you know?
Right.
I know, and I know there's work that was done by also previous council, and I want to acknowledge them as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and this time we're trying to approach here in our community, our organizational, I guess I'll say, is that we plan to meet with directors or managers, and what can we improve on, and what solutions can be provided, and figure out we're not duplicating things. Yeah, because sometimes we have to be prepared because some of the stuff that are going to come welling down on us, such as cutback from the government, we'll feel it, and we feel that. If we feel that, we're going to feel it with our programs that support people, and we got to make sure that the programs continue. Because healing doesn't really end, and people need to understand that. People need, because we're just starting to touch the younger generations now, so we need to make sure we engage with them.
Last topic I wanted to talk about was, Cree, right? So this is
Okay.
about learning Cree. Um, so you grew up in this household in the community where this largely speaks Cree, right? And because I just remember my in my visits when I was growing up to Fort Albany, that pretty much I feel like mostly like you mainly spoke Cree in the household. Was that hard for you to learn both Cree and English at the same time when you were growing up?
Cree was simple, I find, because it was natural. It was part of you when you grew up and you heard it all the time. I think the English part was tough. And I know for sure for myself that English didn't really become a strong thing for me until later grades, such as like grade 7 and 8 when I was in Moosonee.
Right.
I had to use it more because I couldn't ask a fellow friend in Cree, what does this mean?
Yeah.
You know? You know?
Uh-huh.
We had to use English. What are they trying to ask me? And you know that. So yeah, so in Cree here, it's when you hear it, it just awakens you when you hear it. Like like
Yeah.
it seems like you're keen when somebody speaks Cree. We had our flag ceremony yesterday, and an elder sang in Cree, did an opening prayer in Cree. It just felt nice. We had a drum there as well, so the lady sang as well, and on to honor both beliefs, because only the beliefs that people have or follow too, and if it helps them, we should support that.
Right, right, yeah.
Yeah, but if we go back to language, we want to. We those are one of the things we want to bring back more, because I can speak Cree. My daughter can pick it up when I speak Cree,
Hmm.
but they can't speak it. My son, I have to explain both. I got to translate what I'm saying to him.
Yeah.
So already right there, I'm kind of, oh man, I'm losing my Cree, but I can talk to my partner in Cree. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a part of us as because it's our part of our identity, right?
Yeah, yeah. Did you find it hard to maintain it, like when you lived like in Moosonee and then the times you lived in Timmins? Like, did you find it difficult?
That's a good question, because there's a word I was trying to say and my tongue was skipping.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, oh geez, like I couldn't say it. I had to go back and sit at home, like, okay, this is what I was trying to say, teach myself. And I was only gone for 2 years and I hardly used it.
Oh, okay.
I hardly use Cree only when I've seen people that I know that can speak Cree.
So it's hard then, I guess, when you don't speak it every day.
Yeah, yeah, it kind of fades away. So when you come home, you get a chance to use it, talk to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I try my best. if I don't understand, even some of the Cree we use today is like slang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the elder Jojeep would correct me, or somebody else would correct me if I'm saying it wrong. So it's stuff like that. That's why I think it's important that we do our best to try to bring it back.
Do you feel like, how would you describe your level of fluency? Do you feel like someone like Jojeep and the elders have a more advanced vocabulary, Cree vocabulary?
Yes, because they can read and write it,
Oh, okay.
and sometimes I can't read or write it. I probably can grab a syllabic chart and take a while to understand it, right?
Yeah.
But I can understand it, what they're saying, and I can speak it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of the vocabulary words though I don't have. When I try to, even when he asks me, Juji, I have to explain it in a way it's in a sentence when I speak to him in Cree.
Yeah.
Then he says something. Oh, when I get to yeah, because when I try to say it in a long part in Cree, he understands what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to tell him. Then he picks it up. Okay, you know.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I go to magay man. We know shmekayag shigi shigweno kashimit. They're they have a high advance of Cree than I do.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what my uncle said
I'm
about
just a baby
my
Cree.
I've heard some people describe it that way. Like, it's like, yeah, there's some like people of our generation that could speak it. Like, it's still kind of yeah, which is like baby Cree. Is that
Yeah, I said baby Cree there because it's not as advanced as them.
right? Right. Yeah. And my uncle said something similar. Well, like where he said like there's words that he forgets that his dad, my mushroom, um, would say. And I remember even my late dad saying, like, to describe a species of a bird or something, I'd be like, oh, I forgot what my dad called that.
Yeah,
So it feels like, the elders, as they're passing, there all these words and vocabulary is getting lost.
yeah.
So with that, well, what do you think we should be doing to keep it alive then?
I think putting more translations when people are speaking. Like for me right now, for us, too bad we didn't have like little a Cree word on the bottom. You know what I mean? When we're speaking English.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
Oh, okay.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like translating in our language as much as they can. And being, I know that we're trying to do that here. We're going to try to do it here. And talking to, I already spoke to a couple of experts, I guess I'll say, on language. So stuff like that is really important.
Oh, okay.
If we can pick up English, I think we can bring back our language.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, well, that's it for my questions, Bobby. I don't want to take too much of your time, unless there's anything else you wanted to say.
No, I just appreciate you calling me and thinking about me to do an interview. I heard about your interviews that you do, and I seen it on Facebook. And I said, I wonder when I'm going to end up on there.
Well, no, I really appreciate you taking the time, especially during this busy period. You just been elected chief, and you had to go back to Albany right away, and you know doing you're in this period of transition where. So anyway, I really appreciate it, and thanks for taking the time to chat and sharing your story. Stimigwach.
Yeah, sige na. Watch ya.
So that was my conversation with the chief of Fort Albany First Nation, Robert Nakogee, aka my cousin Bobby. I appreciated him coming on to tell his story and also sharing words of wisdom by Jojeep and Cree. Here are a few phrases that he shared.
He goes, Kana kegon anamutta, agos goes to musitain. He goes, don't talk about things if you haven't carried them yet.
Don't talk about things if you haven't carried them yet. So I had to take my time with this and ask my mom and my brother for a breakdown and proper pronunciation. So Ghana means like don't. Geguan refers to like a what or a thing. Anamota is like talk. Egoeshka, I guess in this context, means like yet. Eschamosetain, like caring. Gana geguan anamota egoeshko eschamosetain.
It's better if you didn't carry them yet, take him as teachings. I got my scores to Musatain, because Kanahama Bush.
He goes really fast there, and even after slowing it down, it was hard to make out what he said in the last half. So I asked my mom and my brother to help me out again. Ego eshka shmusatain. Kiskana hamanakauna. Bogo eshatana. So ego eshka shmusatain. So if you haven't carried them yet, kiskana hamanakauna. I think it refers to like learning and teachings. Bogo eshatana. Like to take them only. Eshko shmusatain. Kiskana hamanakauna. Bogo eshatana. And he talked about a couple of interesting experiences as a Cree speaker. He described feeling that Cree is just really natural to him, coming from a household that primarily spoke Cree, and that he struggled with English when he left his community for school, something I actually didn't really realize or appreciate back then. And he talked about how he was starting to forget some words after just living in Timmins for the past 2 years or so, where he really spoke Cree, which just says you have to keep using it in order to remember and maintain the language. And I also like how he said that to better learn Cree, he wished our conversation had subtitles so that there was a live translation. And that kind of ties back with the book and the recordings that I described earlier, where I can read and listen along to the stories. And I think that would be an ideal way for me to learn Cree compared to just, words here and there. And again, I'll have links to the book and the recordings on our website and on our socials. So what do you think of Bobby's story? Have you heard of the book Aralokana Nesta Tabacha Moina, Cree Legends and Narratives? Or will you be looking it up now? Are there any other resources you want to share with the podcast and our listeners on how to learn Cree? Send us a message on our website, apashishpodcast.ca, or email us at apashish@gmail.com. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it. Shchimigwech. Apashish, a Cree learning podcast, is produced and hosted by Lenny Carpenter. Additional editing by Tyler Anjikaneb. Logo design by Robert Nakogee. Goose Call provided by my niece, Harlow Carpenter. Music by Lenny Carpenter. Have any questions, feedback, or resources to share? Submit a message on our website, apashishpodcast.ca, or email us at apashish@gmail.com. Visit our website to listen to past episodes, view guest bios, and access Cree learning resources. Apashish is supported by the Indigenous Screen Office. Greater Yellow Lake recording by Thomas McGarrian. Sharp-tailed grouse recording by Andrew Spencer. These and other wildlife recordings are accessible at www.zeno-canto.org. Miigwech for listening.